Well, this weekend, Kamala Harris got a pep talk from Kamala Harris. That all went down on SNL on Saturday night. It's the last episode before the U.S. election. Now, the network, though, was accused of breaking the FCC's equal time rule. That requires that competing candidates be given the same amount of airtime. Therefore, NBC was forced to air a message from Donald Trump during Sunday's broadcast of a NASCAR race and an NFL game. Even it out. You know, you got to play fair. Yeah. So was it the right call for SNL to have Kamala Harris on?
Audience is 50-50.
Like 50-50. Yes. I don't know if it was right or wrong. It just didn't surprise me. Does that make sense? Like SNL does it quite a bit where they have the actual politician sort of surprise the actual actor playing said politician. So it didn't surprise me, but it did feel kind of like they were preaching to the choir. Like, who is this? Like, do you think it's going to change minds? What do you think? Who watches SNL anymore? Raise your hand.
I like it.
I watch it the next day on Instagram.
It's a great point. You know what actually caught my attention is, it's a show that likes ratings, and Kamala Harris will be a draw, even if they are preaching to the choir, right? That's a very left-leaning show, generally speaking, so it made sense. Maya Rudolph has just done an amazing job being Kamala, so it made sense. What I actually thought was, is it coincidence or conspiracy that the musical artist that day was Chappell Roan? And if you know anything about Chappell Roan, she has gone from relative obscurity to superstardom, even though she's been at the game for a long time. But she is a force of a musical artist right now. And who is her fan base? Young women. And who is Kamala's fan base? Young women. And not only that, LGBTQ community members as well. So I just thought to myself, interesting, if you're watching, what are you trying to do? Maybe you're pandering to the people who have already decided they're going to vote for you. Or are you saying to somebody who's young, going, I don't know if I'm going to vote. You know, I really love Chappell. Chappell has endorsed Kamala, reluctantly. She did. And so that to me was an interesting overlap, let's call it, between bases. There are 40 million Gen Z voters in the United States, 18 to 27, that are eligible to vote tomorrow. 40 million. Chappell Roan can really sway a good chunk of those.
Oh, that's very interesting. I love all of these conspiracy theories. I think that this is out of the 2020 Trump campaign election strategy, which is, on one side, you accuse the other side of not playing fair and cheating. At the same time, the Republicans are also saying, and they're, of course, creating a false narrative with these, like, partisan polls and also this, like, I think they're, like, betting. They have people betting on it, trying to tell people that, you know what, Trump's going to win. It's going to be a landslide. He's winning in every single state. So if he wins, they'll be like, we told you so. And if he loses, they'll be like, see, this is what NBC wanted to do. They had her come on a couple days before the election. They want to sway the election. They're not playing fair. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And I also think that his ego is also being hurt. Because remember, he hosted the show twice. He has been portrayed on the show several times. So I bet you in his mind, he thinks that SNL, those are his friends. So why wouldn't they invite him on the show?
They said they did.
I know, but
they did.
They said that they invited him.
I think he's getting a little butthurt because let's be real, we've seen almost every single A-list celebrity get behind Harris, and he's got Hulk Hogan. And I'm sure there's
he's got Mel Gibson. He's got Mel Gibson.
He's got Mel Gibson like it's a win. I love the way you said Mel Gibson like it's a win.
I'm surprised.
I was surprised that everybody is lining up behind Harris, and that's probably why they filed this. Like, this is unfair. It's like, no, what's unfair is what you're doing in this election.
I would love to know about the amount of viewership that happened on SNL that night, and maybe on the subsequent Instagram feeds, versus during, what would you say, NASCAR race?
Who was when he did
I actually
his
don't
thing.
know the numbers on that, but he just aired an ad, right? So it's because we're in such a tight lead up that the rules start to change. You have to have this equal, my understanding is you have to have this equal sense of airtime. And what actually was interesting to me is that Donald is probably upset about this because the Harris campaign has actually been outspending Donald Trump's campaign.
Out-earning, too.
Out-earning as well. In particular, over the last little while. Now, there's some thinking that he's gonna ramp it up in the next little while. But what's hard to also wrap your head around is this amount of money that's being spent on these ads, period, on political ads, okay? So according to NBC News, nearly $1 billion was spent over the past week. $1 billion over a past week. And so that the political ad spending for 2024 is expected to shatter $10 billion. Wow. When you just put that into context for a moment, think about what that kind of money could do to change lives. And this is all in the lead up to this. I'm just leaving that for food for thought.
Yeah. Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.